Good morning, everyone. Oh, I was hoping to get a little bit more from you then. Can I try that? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Lovely. That's much better. It is wonderful to see you all here. My name is Professor Robin Mason. One of the best jobs that I've got is being chair of the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission, which I've done for about 4 years now. And my role, along with my fellow commissioners, who I'll introduce you to shortly, is to select you wonderful people to be our Commonwealth Scholars. We've all read all of your applications, and the real joy of today is that we get to meet the people and not just what you've told us about on paper. So this is the highlight of the year. This is the time when we get to welcome all of our new scholars. We've got a fantastic venue. We ordered the weather, but it didn't quite come, but at least it's not raining. And we have a fabulous day ahead of networking, personal development, and some really inspiring and high-profile speakers, two of whom I'll introduce you to shortly. We've got today about 326, we've counted you in, 326 scholars from all over the Commonwealth. And I'd like you to be a little bit competitive now, because I'm going to call out some of the countries that you're from. And I'll be really interested to see which country makes the loudest noise. There we go. That's got you going. Okay, settle down. Settle down. And in my experience, stay with me now. In my experience, it's not the country with the largest number of scholars that makes the loudest noise, but we shall see. So, here we go. Australia. Thank you. I like that. That was brief, but you knew it was there. So, Bangladesh. Botswana. Hey. Cameroon. There are just 5 from Cameroon, and did you hear that volume? That was very good. Canada. Hey, I'm from Canada too. Fiji. And I was there not so long ago. Gambia. Welcome. Ghana, importantly. You need to make a bigger noise than that for the Secretary General. Okay, don't. India. Jamaica. Nicely done. Kenya. Lesotho. Oh. We applaud that. That was innovative. Very good. Malawi. Excellent. I am enjoying this. Malaysia. Oh, that's very dignified. Thank you. New Zealand. Oh. Later, perhaps. We'll call that now, this generally is a big one. Nigeria. Very good. Thank you. You can't say I didn't warn you. Pakistan. Brilliant. Rwanda. Lovely. Thank you. St. Lucia. St. Lucia, later. Sierra Leone. Wonderful to see you. South Africa. Lovely. Sri Lanka. Welcome. Tanzania. Uganda. Zambia. Did I miss anybody out? Did I not? Zimbabwe? Togo? Shout up then. Thank you. Very good. So, if I missed you, come and get me in the break and tell me off. It is wonderful to see you all. We're here to recognise and celebrate your achievements on being selected to be a Commonwealth Scholar. We're here to build up the community of scholars and the network, and I'm going to come back to that shortly. And actually, we're here to show you off to other really important people, so I know that you'll do us proud in that regard. We are incredibly proud of you all. You're a very select group. We have about 32,000 Commonwealth Scholars over the 66 years that the scheme has been running. The first group arrived in the UK in 1960, 175. And now we have, at any one time, something like 1,800, 1,900 Commonwealth Scholars studying in and with the UK. And no pressure on you, but we're a very select group. Our alumni include Prime Ministers, Cabinet Ministers, Nobel Prize winners, academics, diplomats, writers, leaders in government, NGOs, and businesses. And one day, that will describe you too, because we have selected you from well over 45,000 applicants to select just 600, 650 scholars each year. That's how selective we are. So you are incredibly special people, academically incredibly gifted, but as importantly, people who we know will go on and make a positive difference to the UK, to your home countries, and throughout the Commonwealth. So people like Margaret Atimango from Uganda, who did a Commonwealth Distance Learning Scholarship in 2006. And she went on to senior roles in Save the Children, including Head of Child Protection and Child Rights Governance in Uganda, and later working as a child protection specialist in emergencies. In southwestern Uganda, an area hit by severe flooding, Margaret led community-based programs that combined climate adaptation and disaster risk reduction with child protection, establishing climate adaptation pathways, implementing the Safe Schools approach, supporting early warning, evacuation drills, and first aid training with local partners, and enabling children's clubs across the country to contribute to mitigation and preparedness for climate events. So an absolutely inspirational and world-changing alumna, and the exciting thought is that one of these days we'll be telling your story to a future group of scholars for the changes that you've wrought. So, I said we're here to recognize and celebrate your achievements. We're also here for you to, what's the name of the event? Connect and collaborate. So you're here to build your personal networks and to meet new people. And I told a small group of scholars before we started that I'd set a challenge, and here's the challenge. I want each of you to meet, what shall we say? Shall we say 30 people? Yeah, let's say 30 people who you haven't met. So you don't just talk to people from your own home country or for your own university or course. 30 people. Don't stop there. If you get to 30 easily by lunchtime, keep going. LinkedIn is your friend. Meet as many different people as you can, because a big part while you're here in the UK is not just your academic training and your personal development, but it's the lifelong networks and friendships that you'll form. So, I must finish soon because the Minister needs to get back to the Houses of Parliament. Let me briefly, though, introduce you to people who I've already spoken about. Can I invite my fellow commissioners, please, to stand? They're very shy, but please do stand. So, in no particular order, Professor Alan Hill, Ryan Shorthouse, Professor Liggs Baggs, Professor Keva Ibe, and Professor Parmjit Jat. These are all the good people who read all of your applications and select you as scholars. And really importantly, also from the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission Secretariat, the programme officers, without whom nothing would happen. So again, if I could invite the programme officers to stand. We have Eamon Belkacem, Danielle Watkis, Jasmine Osman, Mariam Golashili, Mark Emanuel, Sanya Dumovic-Potmar, Seljan Yamor, Ruth Mensa, and Sarah Woolley. So, finally, I want to give thanks to the many, many different people that make today possible. I won't list them all now because time is short, but I particularly want to give our enduring thanks and recognition of our sponsoring body, the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, who provide the funding for all of your scholarships. So many, many thanks to the FCDO. Yes, I think that's right. Thank you. So, it's now a great pleasure to introduce to the stage Chris Elmore MP, the Labour Member of Parliament for Bridgend and Porthcawl, who has served in the House of Commons since May 2016. He's lived in South Wales all his life, having been born in Newport, lived in Bryn Mawr and Caerphilly as a child, where my daughter is currently working, and now living in Bryn Minion, beautiful part of the world. Having started out working as a butcher, he has held a number of roles in further education, office management, public affairs, and as a full-time county councillor and cabinet member, leading on education and children's social services until 2016 in the Vale of Glamorgan. He currently serves as Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State at the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, appointed on the 7th of September 2025, and previously served as Controller of His Majesty's Household from July 2024 to September 2025. So it is a great pleasure and honour to welcome Chris Elmore MP to the stage. Chris, thank you so much.
Good morning, and thank you, Robin, for that really kind introduction. I'm not sure I've ever been to an event where noise is encouraged, so it was a wonderful way in which Robin got us all motivated this morning. Secretary-General, colleagues, friends, it is truly great to be with you this morning. Let me start by thanking the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission for bringing us all together. Every year you manage to gather an extraordinary group of people, and looking around the room today, the tradition is clearly continuing. I'm genuinely pleased to welcome you all to the United Kingdom, and more importantly, congratulations. Being awarded a Commonwealth Scholarship is a huge achievement. It reflects your talent, your drive, and for many of you, the sacrifices that you and your families have made to reach this point. When I spoke to some of you backstage just now, I heard the incredible stories about your backgrounds, your studies, and what you want to do next. And those conversations reminded me about why this programme matters so much. The energy, the ideas, the ambition, it truly is inspiring. And what strikes me most about this year's group is the breadth of experience and the curiosity you all bring, and a shared set of values and an unshakable commitment to that crucial thing, learning. The theme today, Connect and Collaborate, says a lot. I hope this programme helps you become lifelong friends of the United Kingdom, and I really want to encourage you to make the most of it. Talk to each other, you've had your task set. Share experiences, learn from people who see the world differently. And in an ever more connected world, those relationships matter more than ever. Whatever your field, science, health, engineering, human rights, public policy, you will all play an important role in global development. And with big global challenges coming at us from every direction, the connections you build across the Commonwealth are going to be incredibly important. I'm confident that the skills you gain and the networks you form will help you shape a better future for yourself and the wider world. And as this journey doesn't end with the scholarship, because when you join a global alumni network of 31,000 people, many now in senior roles, you create those friendships for life. But today isn't just about looking ahead, it's also about celebrating what you've achieved to date. Now the UK isn't always brilliant at shouting about its achievements, but as someone who grew up in Wales, I'm sure you'll forgive me a little pride. With the Commonwealth Games coming back to Glasgow later this year, it's another reminder of the incredible talent right across the Commonwealth family. And as a proud Welshman who studied in Cardiff and now represents a Welsh constituency in the UK Parliament, I'll be cheering for Team Wales. I know some of you won't be, but I will be. I know you'll be cheering your own countries and your own teams too, and that friendly rivalry is genuinely part of the fun. And as you begin this chapter, I encourage you to follow in the footsteps of the scholars who came before you. Many of them stood in exactly your place, excited, maybe a bit overwhelmed, but ready to start a journey that ended up shaping their entire lives. I wish you every success in the journey ahead. I'm looking forward to hearing more about where it takes you in the months to come. Thank you so very much indeed.
Well, let me repeat my thanks to the Minister. He's now got to, fortunately, just across the road to the Houses of Parliament to go and take some FCDO questions, but we're incredibly grateful that he could spare the time this morning. We're really spoiling you, though, this morning, because having had one high-profile guest speaker, we have a second. And it is a real honour to be able to welcome the Honourable Shirley Ayorkor Botchwey, who is the current and 7th Secretary-General of the Commonwealth of Nations, appointed in 2024 and taking office in April 2025, making her the first African woman to lead the organisation. Prior to becoming the Secretary-General, she brings more than 20 years of leadership experience in diplomacy, international relations, governance, and public service. Born in Accra, where I was just in November, she served as Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration from 2017 to 2024, and was a member of Ghana's National Security Council. Earlier in her career, she served as Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs, Information and Trade and Industry. And from 2005 to 2021, she was a Member of Parliament for the Wager and later Anya Soweto constituencies, representing the largest population base in Ghana's legislature across 4 consecutive terms. And prior to all of that, and prior to entering politics, she led a successful marketing and communications firm and served as a consultant in the tourism sector. Reflecting on her own historic journey, she said, "It is a great honour to be the first African woman to serve as Secretary-General." And listen to this, no matter where in the Commonwealth you come from, this path is open to you. So it's with great honour and pleasure that I invite Madam Secretary-General to the stage.
Good morning. Professor Mason, distinguished guests, and above all, Commonwealth Scholars. It's a real pleasure to be with you today, and a privilege to address such an extraordinary gathering of talent, ambition, and promise. Let me begin by offering my sincere thanks to Professor Robin Mason and the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission for convening this important moment, a moment of connection, reflection, and possibility. I also wish to thank the government of the United Kingdom, and in particular, the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, for its long-standing and deeply valued commitment to the Commonwealth Scholarship Program. This is a partnership that has changed lives and changed nations. And I'm delighted that Minister Elmore was with us today. He's had to leave. The UK's continued leadership in supporting education, opportunity, and international cooperation across our Commonwealth family is remarkable, and I commend her. To the Commission, its commissioners and staff, and to the many university partners across the UK who host, support, and believe in you, thank you for your stewardship of one of the Commonwealth's most powerful and enduring instruments for change. But today is not really about institutions. Today is about you. More than 300 scholars from over 25 countries across every region of our Commonwealth, studying disciplines that will shape the future, from climate science and public health to artificial intelligence, governance, education, and sustainable development. Each of you bring a story of talent, determination, and sacrifice. And each of you carries with you the hopes of families, communities, and countries that believe in what you can become and what you can give back. You are not only students, you are leaders of the Commonwealth, and you are standing on solid foundations. For more than 6 decades, the Commonwealth Scholarship Program has been built on a powerful and simple idea that education changes lives, and that when lives change, societies benefit. Since 1960, over 31,000 scholars have passed through this program. Among them are prime ministers and cabinet ministers, Nobel Prize winners and world-class scientists, judges, diplomats, academics, writers, innovators, and social entrepreneurs, leaders of global institutions, NGOs, and major businesses. But the true legacy of this program is not titles or honors. It is schools and hospitals transformed. It is laws reformed, communities lifted. It is ideas that took root at home and spread across borders. This is what makes the Commonwealth Scholarship more than a qualification. It is a public good. It is an instrument of development and peace, a bridge between nations, a living expression of Commonwealth values, of fairness, of opportunity, inclusion, service, and societal well-being. And it is why I believe so deeply that talent is universal, even when opportunity is not. You begin your journey at a time of extraordinary global change. The world today is defined by overlapping crises. A climate emergency that is already reshaping economies and lives, rising inequality and unsustainable debt, technological disruption that is transforming how we work, how we learn, and how we govern, and a troubling erosion of trust between nations, within societies, and in institutions themselves. At the same time, geopolitical tensions are deepening. Multilateral cooperation is under strain, and the instinct in too many places is to retreat inward, to close doors rather than build bridges. For people everywhere, this can feel very overwhelming. Rising inequality and unsustainable debt, technological disruption that is transforming how we work, how we learn, and how we govern, and a troubling erosion of trust between nations within societies and in institutions. At the same time, geopolitical tensions are deepening. Multilateral cooperation is under strain. And the instinct in too many places is indeed to retreat inward. But I believe strongly that this is not a moment for despair. I believe strongly that it is a moment for leadership. And leadership does not begin when you take office, or when you publish a book, or win an election. And I tell you this from experience. Leadership begins when you decide what values will guide you and how you will use the knowledge that you gain. This is why your place within the Commonwealth matters so much, because in a fractured world, the Commonwealth remains something rare and precious. It is a voluntary family of 56 nations across 5 continents. We represent 1/3 of humanity, most of these young populations. We are bound not by geography, but by shared principles. We are connected by common language and values, legal traditions, and a belief in cooperation over coercion. Commonwealth is not perfect, but it is purposeful. And at a time when global connections are fraying, the Commonwealth's role as a bridge between nations and peoples has never been more important. That bridge is built not only through diplomacy, but through people, through students who study together, through researchers who collaborate across borders, through innovators who share ideas, and alumni who carry Commonwealth values into every corner of public life. That is why you matter so much. You are not only beneficiaries of the Commonwealth, you are its custodians. Last year when I took office, I was very clear about one thing. In a changing world, the Commonwealth must be more focused, more effective, and more relevant to the lives of its people, especially its young people. That is why we have set out a new strategic plan, grounded in connected pillars of economic resilience, environmental resilience, and democratic resilience. These are the conditions for people to live with dignity, security, and hope. Education, your education, runs through all of it, and I want to take each pillar in turn. On economic resilience, young people are not waiting for opportunity, they are creating it. They are reshaping economies through entrepreneurship, through innovation, science, and extraordinary skill. Education is the engine of that transformation. It equips you not just to find jobs, but to create value for your communities and for the wider world. Whether you're working in finance or farming, engineering or economics, medicine or management, you are part of a generation that must build inclusive growth, not growth that leaves people behind. The Commonwealth's advantage, lower trade costs, shared systems, deep people-to-people links is an enormous opportunity. But opportunity only becomes reality when it is matched with talent and leadership. That is where you come in. On environmental resilience, we are talking about the present reality of climate change, not some distant threat, but something which is felt acutely across our Commonwealth, from small island states to large economies. And once again, education is central to the response. Your training as climate scientists, engineers, public health experts, urban planners, lawyers, and policy makers. You will design the energy systems of tomorrow. You will shape climate resilience agriculture. You will develop adaptation strategies that save lives and livelihoods, and ensure that the transition to a green economy is fair and just. Those who have contributed least to climate change must not be left to bear its greatest costs. And we believe that young people must be at the forefront of shaping solutions. Your research, your innovation, your voice, these are essential to the future we are trying to build. And for our democratic resilience, education is indispensable, foundational. It nurtures critical thinking, ethical leadership, and respect for diversity and difference. In an age of misinformation, polarization, and rapid technological change, especially artificial intelligence, democratic resilience depends on people who can think independently, people who can act responsibly, and people who can lead with integrity. That responsibility will rest heavily on your generation. The Commonwealth stands for democracy not as an abstract ideal, but as something that must come alive in people's daily lives. In true participation and empowerment, and the opportunity to shape decisions, you will be in a brilliant position to lead that effort. Being a Commonwealth Scholar is an honor, but it is also a responsibility. You are part of a global alumni community that stretches back generations, a network defined not just by excellence, but by service. Wherever your journey takes you, back home, elsewhere in the Commonwealth, or beyond, I hope you will carry three things with you. First, a commitment to use your knowledge for the public good. Second, a determination to build bridges, not walls. And third, a lifelong connection to the Commonwealth as a space for collaboration, solidarity, and shared progress. Stay engaged, stay connected, and remember that your individual success is most powerful when it contributes to collective advancement. Let me end with this. The world that you're entering is complex, uncertain, and demanding, but it is also rich with possibility. You are part of one of the most diverse, dynamic, and youthful communities on earth. You have been given an extraordinary opportunity, not just to learn, but to lead. Commonwealth believes in you. We believe that education unlocks opportunity, that partnership multiplies impact, and that when people come together across borders, values and disciplines are stronger. So go forward with confidence. Use your time here to learn deeply. Use your time to challenge assumptions. Use your time to build friendships that will last a lifetime. And when you leave this chapter behind, take the Commonwealth with you, not just as an institution, but as an idea. That in a divided world, cooperation still matters. That shared values are vital if and only if we are to lead progress. And that leaders of tomorrow, sitting here today, can help shape a more vast, a more sustainable and connected future for us all. I wish you every success, and I look forward to contributions you make to your countries, to your communities, and to your Commonwealth. I thank you.
let me first check. The microphone is working, I think. Is that right? Do you agree? Very good. Secretary General, there was so much in that talk, wasn't there? I was frantically writing notes. So many things stood out to me. Just a few. This idea, and I hope you all agree, adhere to this principle, that you're receiving not just a qualification, but you're part of creating a public good. That with the honor of becoming a Commonwealth Scholar comes the responsibility to, I like the phrase, build bridges, not walls. That you are about excellence, yes, that's why we've selected you, but you're also about service to your home countries and to the Commonwealth, and that leadership starts even before you reach high office. Leadership is something that we all can exercise, that you can exercise, but importantly that leadership needs to be attached to guiding values so that you use the knowledge that you're gaining for the public good. And that was just some of the things. There were so many other things that you covered, but those were just some of the points that really caught my ear. So I'd like us again to thank the Secretary-General for a wonderful talk. Now, we have a little time to discuss with the Secretary-General some of the questions that I'm grateful that you all submitted. I'm sorry if we're going to disappoint you by not covering your question, because we've only been able to select 3 given the time available. But if you have a favourite question, you can always, well, you might try and get the Secretary-General. You're more likely to get me, and we can talk about it if we don't manage to cover your questions. But if I may turn to the first one, you've laid out very clearly the 3 priorities. Your vision about economic, environmental, democratic resilience, economic growth, environmental resilience, and democratic governance. Now, this is always a tricky question. It's a bit like choosing. I have 2 daughters, and so, you know, which is your favorite daughter? I don't have one. They're both wonderful. But if you had to prioritize one of those 3 as the foundation for a sustainable Commonwealth and Commonwealth development, could you do that? And what would it be and why?
In your words, they are all wonderful. Well, let me just say that the 3 pillars, I believe, are interdependent, they are interconnected. So we could see it as a tripod. But I will, for now, if I had to choose democratic resilience. I say this because this is the foundation on which you can build prosperity for any nation and for all our nations. If we do not have good governance, if we don't have strong institutions that work, if we do not have the rule of law in operation, if we do not have respect for human rights, if democracy can't be assured, it will be difficult to push trade and investment, which is economic resilience, because there won't be predictability for any investor to go into a nation to invest or for trade to thrive. And it's the same thing to do with building climate resilience, because we all know what happens when climate change affects a nation. And I'll give this example, the example of the Lake Chad, which in times past, over 10 million people used to depend on it. Today is about 1/10 of its capacity, what it used to be. It means that people are moving out because there's not enough water for themselves, for their cattle, etc. It means that people who depended on the lake have to resettle somewhere else. Poverty then becomes an issue. People don't feel included, and these are people who, once upon a time, took their livelihoods from that region. They've had to move. And so, of course, it affects democracy. It then affects also economic, their economic activity. So I would like to see all three as something that cannot be disaggregated. We need to work on all three together because, like I said, they are interconnected, interdependent, and you can't divorce one from the other. Yeah.
And although my academic discipline, I'm an economist. Are there any economists in the room? Nobody's. Oh, great! Somebody's willing to own up to it. Welcome. Good to see you. Although I'm an economist, I must say I completely concur. You might expect me to say economic growth, economic resilience is first amongst equals in those three, but a recent Nobel Prize to Darren Acemoglu and Simon Johnson was awarded precisely for that point of institutions and governance underpin all sorts of things including economic productivity and environmental resilience. A just brief follow-up on that, if I may then. How can the Commonwealth work together to strengthen democratic governance? What are your plans for the years ahead during your tenure to work particularly on democratic resilience?
Well, thank you very much for that. That's, for me, is one of the key things that we do concentrate on as a secretariat. We have the Commonwealth values. We have the charter that all countries, all 56 countries have signed on to voluntarily. And therefore, we must ensure as a secretariat that countries are adhering to the charter and to the principles of the charter. Unfortunately, there's a decline. We're seeing all kinds of issues happening in countries, but the Secretariat makes itself available to help countries build their institutions, whether it's their anti-corruption institutions, whether it's their governance institutions, whether it's the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. We are also working in partnership, and for our next 5-year strategic plan, partnerships, collaboration is very high up there. We can't do everything, but we're working with accredited organizations, we're working with foundations, with philanthropies, we're working with even international organizations to help ensure that countries are strong democratically, strong in the structures that will bring about good governance, and also to ensure that the other aspects of good governance are adhered to. So for the Commonwealth Secretariat, we have a group which ensures that we are looking at the landscape, looking at early warning systems, so that we can nip issues in the bud before they become problems. And CMAG, the Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group, is there to call countries to book if they go rogue, so to speak, but also to encourage those who are doing well and to use them as best practices to help each other, to build capacity of institutions and all of that. So there's a lot going on in that space, and we'll continue to do that to ensure that our countries are able to achieve their democratic dividend.
Fascinating, thank you. We must move on to our second question. One aspect of of getting old, which I am, is that across my academic career, I've seen a huge transformation in access to digital technologies in particular. I'm old enough to remember, and others, most in the room won't, but some might, the very first web browser back in the early 90s. I remember heated debate about whether Wikipedia would completely erode academic integrity. Does anybody, yes, I can see a couple of my fellow commissioners nodding. I see some of my younger commissioners looking at me with a blank face. Was Wikipedia ever questioned? We now have generative AI and large language models, which is the latest wave of technology presenting challenges and opportunities. And I should say that the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission is quite distinctive in that for a number of years now, we have given access to UK higher education through distance learning programs for Commonwealth scholars who, for various reasons, aren't able to come and spend a year, or if you're a PhD student, 3 or 4 years in the UK, they're able to study in their home country. So we were an early adopter of digital technology. But my question then, Secretary-General, is how can the Commonwealth ride the latest wave and leverage the latest technologies to empower youth across member states in tackling all of the things that we've spoken about, economic, environmental, and democratic resilience?
Thank you very much. I think this is one area that the Commonwealth sees as an opportunity rather than to be skeptical about artificial intelligence, digitalization, building digital skills. And as a result, what we've done in our new strategic plan is to have a goal of reaching 10 million young people, equipping them with digital skills to make sure that we use artificial intelligence to for education. So education is very important in the scheme of things for us. Education, making sure that every young person, but at least our goal is 10 million, in underserved areas, in remote areas, is reached. And we're doing this in collaboration and in partnership with international telecommunications companies, trying to send Wi-Fi to the most remote areas. Also, we see the use of artificial intelligence and digital skills as ways of building vocational and technical skills for young people, and of course, entrepreneurship as well, where we're encouraging young people to innovate, to look at new ways of doing things. And we're very lucky that there's a lot of opportunities within the climate space, within the green jobs space, where young people can look at ways in which they can contribute to the development of their country. So for me, what is important is making sure that we reach a lot of young people, but doing this through collaboration, through partnerships, foundations, philanthropies, once again, the private sector. And so far, it's going as we have planned. And so I'm hoping that by the end of the 5 years, we'll be able to report very positively that we have been able to reach quite a large number of young people and build capacity.
Fascinating. I should say, I mentioned earlier that I was in Accra in November. I was there because one of the things that the Commission does is to support entrepreneurs and startups across the Commonwealth. We had a group of over 20 startup founders doing a boot camp in Accra, and the majority of them were applying digital tech, AI, to climate, agriculture, crops, and healthcare. And it's just having and Professor Kevin Ebay is the commissioner who has really led on that Startup Founders program. And the wave of startup ideas and productivity that digital technology is enabling across the Commonwealth is remarkable. We never have enough time for these things, so I'm going to move on to our third question. I think everybody in this room, I hope everybody agrees, the transformative power of education. I'm not a Commonwealth scholar myself, but I am a scholarship boy. I'm the only person in my family to have been to university, and all of my education has been thanks to scholarships, and that's why I became chair of the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission, because scholarships have transformed my life. But you mentioned earlier, there's opportunity and talent don't always coincide. There's tremendous talent across the Commonwealth, but not equal opportunity. So looking ahead, if we looked really far, a generation, 2050, what, in your view, would a genuinely inclusive Commonwealth landscape in education look like? And what needs to change in order for that to be realized?
Thank you very much. One of the areas that need to change, and already as a Commonwealth, we have common platforms of language, of educational systems. So what we need to do is to work a lot more with each other and to have more opportunities presented to countries and to young people. Of the 2.7 billion, 1.5, 60% are young people. And some may see it as a challenge. I think that it's an opportunity. And it depends on how countries see this opportunity. And so for me, it's important that we work together. And that's when ministers of education meet. A lot of good has come out of the meetings, but I think we need now to be more purposeful in terms of how do we ensure education is equitable? How do we make sure that even the most, and I keep talking about the most remote areas, because I know for a fact that there are many in remote areas who do not have access to education. How do we make it more accessible? So those are the issues that ministers should be engaged with. How do we make sure that the poorest also have access to education? Some of our countries now have free education up to high school. I believe that we should be looking at how we can learn from each other and how we can put more funding into education. And for me, this is one of the most important areas. But also, once again, it's about partnerships, working in partnership with other organizations that have more resources. And in terms of research and development and all of that, we need to engage more. We need to work together more to ensure that we replicate what is happening with the CSC and see how best we can move it forward in terms of augment what's happening. Recently, I've had meetings with some countries who are now looking at scholarships, having a big basket where not just the UK funds scholarships, but other countries as well, where we put them all into one basket. Every country has something to offer. And I intend to work with the ACU, the Association of Commonwealth Universities, to see how we can bring this to fruition, where we'll have a lot more scholarships to spread across our 56 countries, so that more students will have opportunity. But the important thing for me is to make education more accessible. And for those who are not able to go through to the tertiary level, how do we encourage students or young people, especially women, to get into vocational technical skilling, as well as to come up with their own entrepreneurship. And in coming up with entrepreneurial skills and startups for their own businesses. I think what we need to do is to engage with industry to see where the gaps are, because those are very, very important. You have a lot of young people finishing school. They have degrees in certain areas that make them unemployable because industry is looking for one thing and they have skills in another. So that's one area that we need to look at. For the Commonwealth Secretariat, we're looking at building centers of excellence. So we're looking at where the gaps are, and centers of excellence in certain areas, especially areas like digital technology, artificial intelligence, and countries are already willing to host these centers of excellence so that we can provide some service to young people.
You know that please view the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission as a partner with the Secretariat in that, because that's a very inspiring, a challenging agenda, but a very inspiring one. So the clock is cruel, and we are over time. Poor chairing by me, I'm afraid, but we could have easily gone on for another half an hour. But could I? That was fascinating. I've learned so much from both your talk and the conversation that we've just had. Can I ask you once again to give your sincere thanks to the Secretary-General? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, my next I've said to you, you need to meet 30 new people, at least. I have an even greater challenge for you. You have about 20 minutes to organize yourself, because what comes next at 11:45 is breakout groups to discuss various development themes. You should have been contacted in advance, so you should know what your theme is. There they all are up on the screen, and that also tells you where you need to go. The fortunate people doing science and technology for development, you get to stay here. Everybody else gets to explore the rest of the building. So if I could ask you to do that relatively quickly, because there isn't much time. If you get completely lost, there'll be friendly faces around to help you find your room. And then, just before you go, don't stand up yet. And then after lunch, we've got stay with me room. I've just got a couple more instructions for you. Are you all with me? Excellent. Please make sure that you're in your breakout rooms again after lunch by 2:30, because we'll be starting on the dot. And what I would really encourage you to do is treat these sessions not as lectures, but as interactive discussions. The more you put in, the more you'll get out, okay? So remember that. Network, meet 30 new people at least, and contribute, because others will benefit from the insights that you've got. So enjoy, and we'll see you again later this afternoon. Thank you, everyone.